And now here's a stanza dedicated to all filmmakers. For in and out, above, about, below, there's nothing but a magic shadow show. Played in a box whose candle is the sun, round which we phantom figures come and go. When was I born? I was born on 31st of January, 1938. It's more than 70 years ago. And my mother gave me the name because I was born on 31st January 1938 was Chinese New Year's Eve. So she gave me a very auspicious name, Yeow Gong Hei. Gong Hei means success in life. But that was not meant to be, because an old lady she met, almost like a stranger, intervened and told her that my name should be Yeow Pak Sui. Now, Pak Sui in Cantonese means 100 years. Yao means worry. So my name turned out to be Worry 100 years, you know. My cinematic exposure during my Japanese occupation, somehow or other, although we were very poor, I managed to see quite a lot of film. And I tell you, in those days, when you want to buy a ticket, there's no such thing as booking for a ticket. You line up with everybody, you know, in a cage-like enclosure, all right? And it's so unruly that gangsters will climb to the top, which is open, and jump down. Although you are in queue, they jump in front of you in order to get the ticket. And when you get your hand into the hole, the cage hole to get the ticket, there's no guarantee you can pull your hand back, because there were 3 hands are stuck there, pulling. And the moment you get your ticket, you must rush to the theater, all right, to get a seat. And how do you reserve your seat? When you sit down, you quickly tie a handkerchief. Well, it always starts with the idea, the concept. So I had the idea. I see, because those days a lot of gangsters, they were rampant, you know. I always crack a joke. If you throw in those days a stone up, you either hit a prostitute or a gangster. And so I see a lot of the gangsters around Geylang extorting money. So it gave me an idea, why not do a film about a hawker who refused to pay extortion money and fought with them and destroyed the head or something like that. So it's just an idea. In old days, it's beautiful to shoot in a kampong rather than a HDB flat, you know. So a lot of our outdoor locations were fantastic, like the Granite Quarry, you know, the Grand Canyon at Clementi, you know, the fish farm where you learn Kung Fu.
That was Changi, was it?
Yeah, that was owned by one of the financiers, you know. Beautiful, we had beautiful locations, beautiful. And I had a very good script writer those days, James Bastian, who actually co-directed the whole production with me. So he wrote the script, and I managed to convince 2 of my friends to put in some money. They were quite well-to-do, so I think each put in 100,000 or something. 200,000 was a very big budget those days, you know. So that started the ball rolling. So casting was very easy because we just cast people who are willing to act I mean, you know, if you're willing to act, you got a part already. We don't need to audition you. Because we were paying almost peanuts then, you know. Peter was my financier's contact. He saw Peter in a karate competition. He says, come. You know. So we looked him up. He was staying somewhere in Geylang. And he readily agreed. At the time he was sixth dan only. Now he's eighth dan, you know. And I think he was really our lucky break to have Peter Chong in the film, you know. And then because he was teaching karate, he knew a lot of these kung fu people, karate people. So a lot of the main fighters there were actually trained in kung fu, you know. So the fights were very real. I mean, it was like a street fight. There was nothing choreographed because we don't know how to choreograph. How do you know how to fight? You know, when there's no pyrotechnics, no wires being pulled, nothing. You know. So Peter was the one who did most of the planning. It's okay, but I will describe the location. I said, Peter, here's the fight. It will take place from here to there. You decide how you're going to stage it. So all I need to do is, are you ready? Is he ready? Okay, action. And they start fighting. When they're about to stop fighting, I say, cut. And that's how each fight was choreographed.
And some of them got hurt, right?
Huh?
They got hurt.
Oh yes, a lot of injuries here and there because, but we pay scant attention to it, you know. We had to look for a hut, a tap hut, for the mother to be burned because we have to burn the hut, set fire to the hut, a tap hut. So we paid, I think, $2,000 in those days, quite a lot of money for the hut. And so on the day of the shoot, we were throwing kerosene on the atap, you know, lots of it. It wouldn't burn, you know. The damn house wouldn't burn. So we threw some more kerosene, and a lot of it seeped onto the floor. We didn't know because, you know, it's a very old atap hut. So at last we managed to set it ablaze, you know. Whoa, my God, the whole place was full of kerosene. So the fire started approaching Marjorie, you know. Marjorie panicked, you know. She ran out. As she ran out, the beam fell, you know, really fell on her head. So we all panicked, we were just rushing, and but I said, no, don't rush in. Let the actor rush in. Because if we had rushed in, we have spoiled the take, you know? Right? So the poor actor was going to rush in and rescue the mother, you know. So it's quite an experience, yeah.
And that's the take you use in the film.
Yes.
So you were happy with Ring of Fury.
Yes.
But then things didn't go so well for the film, huh?
Yes.
What happened after that? After you'd finished and you wanted to release it in Singapore?
No, we went to the film censor board with the film, and it was rejected straight away because it says in those days they call it yellow culture, you know, to show gangsters. To show gangsters anywhere is against the PAP's code. You know, they don't want to promote gangsters. So that was the main reason why the film was banned. At the time we knew it was quite daring, but we said this is true, this is based on truth.
So you were trying to be true to the real life in Singapore with the gangsters and extortion.
Well, this is a bit of that's 100% true. Extortion, it's rife in those days.
But they didn't wear masks,
No, except the mask. The masks are invention, necessary invention. That like was James Sebastian's idea. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good idea. Not only one mask; it was two masks. You know, there's an iron mask and a cloth mask. You know.
and then they go to a disco. There's a disco where he comes out of the floor.
Yeah.
There's the scene at the end of the film with the policeman.
Yes,
isn't there?
yes. We actually injected this knowing that it might be banned by Singapore. You see. So we had a very good-looking gentleman to play the part. In fact, he was my colleague as a teacher, and he's got a very stern look to play the part of the inspector. But in spite of that, there are a lot of hassle. So when the fight started with the film censor board, I was a little disappointed, you know.
But when you were making the film, you were already a bit worried about what might happen.
Yes, I was worried, but not unduly, because when you're making a film, you're concentrating more on the flow of the film. You know, you're not really worried about what the censor board thinks about. If you had known, of course, if you had known, we wouldn't have done the film in the first place.
Yeah.
You see. We had a very tough film censor then, who was Chinese educated. He was quite adamant, you know. So, in fact, Peter Chong got very angry with him. Almost challenged him to a fight. He told us last night, you know. That's it.
And how did you feel?
Well, life goes on, you know. You got to work on the next project. If this one don't work, let's try another one. One day I got a call from the guy who owns the studio. He says, "Why don't you, don't sit at home and mope, just write a script and try and sell it." So I wrote a one-page script. In those days, the sea was being polluted, and so I wrote a story about these two Kelong workers. They can't catch any more fish, so they had to come to mainland to make a living, So I call it the two nuts. And so I went to see a financier who's Chinese educated, got a small little office in Tiong Bahru, rickety office, but he owns Golden Mile Theatre. I didn't know that, So I went up. His name is Mr. Ko. So I said, "Mr. Ko, he only understands Mandarin, So I spoke with broken English. I said, I'm here to interest you to make a film. What is it? I said, comedy. Comedy? It's just Wong Sai and Ye Fong, the two famous fellows, just here only, also selling me a film, And then, what's your idea? So I told him the idea. He bought it, You won't believe me. After about 10 minutes talk with him, he rang a bell. In come the secretary. He says, write a check for Mr. Yeow for 40,000, because my budget those days is 80,000, 40,000, And he asked, you want cash check or you want your name? That time I have no bank account. That's a cash check, I walked out of his office with 40 grand in my pocket. And with the promise of more funding, he says, when you finish this, you come back, I will give you another 40,000.
Had he seen Ring of Fury?
No, he hasn't seen anything about it. He doesn't know anything about me. I could have walked out and kept the money, There's one scene in the two nuts. I wanted this fat fella to train his backside, because he's a wrestler, to make his backside so powerful that when he knocks at the tree will fall, I got permission from the National Parks Division. I identified a tree in Changi. I said, this is a tree I want you to cut. And when this fat fella hits his backside, the tree must fall. They arrange it, at no cost. No cost at all. So I think those days are magic. I mean, you can almost get anything you want. There was no red tape, but it was a terrible film, because I brought my wife to see it. She just couldn't believe it. She says, "How can you produce something like that?" A horrible film.
But why was it bad?
It has no emotional pull, you know. There's no human interest story. It doesn't touch your heart at all, you know. You just have a couple of laughs, you know, and you don't feel sorry for anybody. So, but I was never a good filmmaker because I was never a good storyteller, you know. After that, I joined Mandarin Hotel. Oh, I had a great time. Wonderful time. I think there was a Southeast Asian festival where I met a lot of actors who stayed in the hotel. Chinese actors, Milka Shu, a very pretty girl, Robert Vaughn, George Lazenby. You know, I met all these people. I entertained them, bought them champagne and all that. I had a great time in Mandarin.
How long were you there for?
I was there for, I think, 1.5 years. Then I resigned from Mandarin Hotel to take part in St. Jack. I set up Impact Films. Basically, they do commercials and documentary stuff.
You also, during that time, you worked with P. Ramley's cinematographer, right? Didn't you work with Abu Bakr Ali?
Yes, yeah. Bakar was a wonderful guy. You know, Bakar did all my documentaries. One cameraman, one assistant. That time I had a Bolex camera, hand-wound. Oh, a fantastic camera. Very reliable. No need to worry about battery running out, nothing. In fact, it's still a very good camera today. I gave it to Abu Bakr.
That's his camera, is it now?
Yeah.
That Molex.
Yeah, but I think he passed away already.
No, it's still around.
He's still around. Oh, he treats the camera like gold. He polishes it, you know. 1991, I think, I had the idea of reading a book by a local author, the Adrian Lim story, and I thought it would make a great film. My concept was based on the book itself. I mean, it had to be staged in an HDB flat. If possible, get the same flat that Adrian stayed, you know, and map it in such a way that it follows the true story. It does not digress, it doesn't add anything, it doesn't subtract anything. Because the most touching thing about Adrian is he regretted what he was doing. Quite a touching ending. But unfortunately, we brought in a scriptwriter and he totally changed the concept. And we flew in an actor from Australia who came down, and I think he did he's quite a nice guy. He tried his best, but he couldn't identify with the story itself. And that, so I left on the first day of shoot. He was swayed basically by the scriptwriter. And then the chap I got in as cameraman became very greedy. He wanted to be the director because I was supposed to be the director. And
this is Arthur Smith.
Yeah, after Arthur Smith. Yeah. So it's okay, you know, it's one of those things that happen. So my joke, of course, is medium rare can never be well done.
But that was the first film in Singapore for about 10 years.
Yeah.
Medium rare.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So it began, in a way, your efforts had begun the beginning of the film industry again in Singapore, because a lot of people saw it and thought we can do a film too.
I hope it was so, but well, it never occurred to me that. I mean, filmmaking is a very selfish process. You know, you're not thinking in the perspective of the film industry per se. You're thinking of, hey, what do I do now? You know, what do I do next? Oh yeah, I'm going to make a film, and that's how you get started. You just want to make a film because an idea popped into your head, and you say, hey, worthwhile developing. You know. Now, what can I say about Beauty World? I think it should be made into a film. It's got all the right ingredients. It's got a heroine who's very real. The songs were beautiful, very touching. In fact, although I think the run was about 2 weeks at the theatre, but we were glued every minute, you know. Although we are not acting during the breaks, we are still at the wings watching the performance.
Don't waste your time. I didn't know you were here tonight. I thought you were off. Lulu is always here. I read your paper number 10. I will take care of Mr. Yeow myself.
The other great writer, I thought, Singapore Stories is what's his name? Ko Pao Kun, you know.
Did you know him?
Yes, we used to work together in TV in the old days, and I remember him as a dramatist. Even those days on TV, he was doing Chekhov. I think the Orchard or something, you know.
Cherry Orchard.
Yeah, he was staging it, you know. He was way before our time. It's very intellectual, very simple. Goes around in slippers. It's a great loss to Singapore, his death. Yeah, great loss. Yeah.
You never talked about working with him?
Because basically he belonged to the Chinese stream. Yeah. Well, the Chinese stream is they're very serious people. Okay. People like Pao Kun, they're more civic conscious. They're more aware of what's going on in the political system, and they have this ability to express their their disagreement with certain policies. So in Pao Kun, you find that a lot of it is beneath the calm waters, as it were, is seething with anger, you know. And I think that's the beautiful thing about the Chinese. They're more caring in such a way, because the English education is a little. It's brought up in such a way that their roots are not there, not as firmly planted as the Chinese do. You know, Chinese got a lot of Confucian values, and when you study in English school, you become dislocated. All you learn is proverbs. You don't learn anything that stirs your soul. I think the Chinese dream perhaps has more soul in those days. I don't know about nowadays, than the English dream. Tiger's Whip was quite a spiritual inspiration. Basically, it's a man who loses his sex urge and found peace of mind. I had only a one-page concept, and I went to see my good friend Victor Koo, who was very keen with the idea. And we went around looking for funding. We went to the banks, a couple of banks, and so on, because Victor has very good connections. But no one wanted to give us any money. So anyway, we ended up seeing his brother-in-law, a wonderful guy. We went to see him, and he came out with a calculator in hand, a pencil and a paper. He sat down with us in the garden and said, "Okay, what do you want to do, guys?" I said, "Well, we want to make a film, blah blah blah, Tiger's Way, blah blah blah." And said, "Okay, how much money you need?" You know, those days it was about 500,000, which is quite a lot of money, 500,000. And it says, US dollars or Sing dollars? I say, Sing dollars, yeah. When do you want it? I said, tomorrow. No, I said, yesterday. He said, yesterday, how about tomorrow? I thought I was joking, you know. And we actually got the money the next day, you know, after spending just less than 10 minutes with him.
You're just in time for the snake shot. Hey, Mr. Suzuki, welcome. It's great to see you. You're looking sharp. Mr. Suzuki-san.
Here we go again, same old shit.
The biggest mistake about Tiger's Way was the script. It was a very weak script. Very weak script.
Kick the bucket, and the water flows back into the sea. The ego thinks it's a wave, not knowing it's the ocean. You're not a wave, Dick. You're the ocean.
But did you know that before the shoot, and you kind of hoped it would work?
Well, we hoped that it worked because the idea was, well, to me and perhaps to Victor at that time was quite global in the sense that, you know, it's about detachment, about not caring too much about sex and wealth and greed and, you know, and the kind of thing. I had some kind of feeling that all is not quite well with the film, because from the feedback I got from people like Kelvin Tong, I mean, he didn't say, "Oh, I don't like it," but I can see that he wasn't very warm with it, you know. But they were not direct hints. In fact, all the top guys we sent the film or the script to for their reading and all that, they love it. All the writers, university lecturers, even, and in a way, the one that convinced us most was Mr. Cheong of OCBC, who liked the script so much he acted in 5 roles, you know. So anyway, that's the Fool Paradise part of it. But now I'm a wiser man and a poorer one.
We are gathered here today to honor 2 brave men. 2 men who saw fit to aid a helpless tiger. Finding the drugged-out tiger, Queenie, vulnerable outside zoo grounds.
You know, when you create a baby and you take 9 months conception, labor, no matter how ugly your baby is, you still think he's the best looking guy in the world. Yeah? To see the film developing day by day, you see it growing as well. It's like watching a baby grow inside you, you know. And every day you shoot a little. You really enjoy the whole. I mean, time is nothing, you know. Time flies because you're always looking slightly ahead of your next shot. You know. What do you do next? You know, where do you go? Where do you put your lights? Where do you have your camera and all that? It's a very absorbing process. You know. It's really a trip really, Making a script, I mean any script, a movie script, is a very hard business. It's really for the people who have the natural propensity for it. You have to be some kind of a genius in order to write a good script. You don't need to be a student of cinema to write a good script. A lot of good writers never started in the film business to begin with. But there's a magic lah. If you don't get the magic in whatever film you do, it's difficult.
Do you think you ever got the magic?
Oh,
Did you ever get the magic in any of your films?
the budget.
Magic. The magic.
The magic.
Did you get the magic?
The magic. The only magic I got is black magic. Black is the color of failure, I never got the magic. Never got the magic. Yeah. But hopefully, you never know. Because I think in every filmmaker worth his salt, although I don't think I'm a very saltish guy, there is a film sprouting inside. It has basically about actual experience. A film must be about an actual experience. What makes a human being? What is the purpose of life? Who are you? They always try to answer the question. Who are you? Who are you really? I mean, I was working in a blindfold, because basically I was a blind man among the blind, really. Even the chaps that I approached to, they were just equally blind because they didn't see. I wish I had more. I wish I had more no's than yes. I wish everybody I approach with is very careful. Say, let's think about it. Can you show me more details? The trouble is, in those days, we always ask ourselves one question before we make a film: for whom are we making the film? So we thought we were being clever. Let's think it for the American market. So to make it for the American market, we thought we must come up with a novel idea.
So, because you have American guys in the lead roles in quite a few of your film projects.
Yes.
Is that always your idea? Is that always your part of your?
Yeah. That's natural progression. That's where the market is. Always thinking, hoping that you can make it shown in America. Where else can you show your film? Where else? A filmmaker's role is no different from any ordinary spiritual person. It should be about helping others. If you do a film which helps others, I think that is the best objective for me. Not to make money, but if you make money, why not? But to help others, to help people from suffering, to make money so that you can have the money to give them food, give them shelter. I think there'll be a more altruistic purpose towards living. So I don't know. Right now, I'm quite blurred about the whole picture.
But you still want to make films. After all these years, you still want to keep going, don't you?
Do I still want to make films?
Yeah.
Why not? If you got $1 million, let me know. I still want to make films.
But why? Why do you, after all this trouble that you've
Well,
had?
that's the only thing I can do. What else can I do? My son, my late son, has a lot to do with me bringing me to God, because when he died, I went to see Baba and show him some of the photographs at the wake. Baba very kindly gave me an interview. So I asked my son, Baba, where is my son now? He says, your son is with me now. And that very night at the ashram, I had a dream. I dreamt I saw my son with his hair standing up, like Baba's hair, in a white robe, standing next to Baba. And my ex-wife was there also. For some good reason, I was not there. Maybe I didn't deserve to be there.
So, where were we?
We were near the end.
How many scripts have you developed that have not been gone into production, do you think?
Well, at least about 7.
And what were your favourites?
My favorite still is The Long March. It's like, The Long March is like the impossible dream. They really realize the impossible dream. And for filmmakers, I think that is what we should all strive at, to dream the impossible dream. To conclude, I'd like to read a couple of stanzas from this Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam and see what you think of it, okay?
Go for it, Tony.
Awake! For morning in the world of night has flung the stone that puts the stars to flight. And lo, the hunter of the east has caught the Sultan's turret in a noose of light. Dreaming when dawn's left hand was in the sky, I heard a voice within the tavern cry, awake, my little ones, and fill the cup, before life's liquor in his cup be dry. And as the cock crew, those who stood before the tavern shouted, open then the door. You know how little while we have to stay, and once departed, may return no more. How sweet is mortal sovereignty, think some. Others, how blessed the paradise to come. Take the cash in hand and wave the rest. Oh, the brave music of a distant drum.